I am Steve.
Steve. He's just a guy trying to mine some blocks, fight some hordes, and survive out in the wilds of Minecraft. And along the way, well, he's become somewhat of a god. And that becomes very literal when you're talking creative mode. And so today, well, let's put that to the test, seeing how Steve would do against another god man, Superman. So who wins here? Let's find out. Superman is one of the most powerful beings on Earth and its greatest hero. Born to the House of El, Kal-El is one of the last surviving members of Krypton. It was sent to Earth as a baby. Raised by the Kents in Smallville, Kansas, Superman now uses his incredible strength, speed, flight, and other powers to fight evil and protect the innocent as the ultimate symbol of heroism, truth, and justice. And for starters, well, Superman is obviously ridiculously strong. I mean, he's clearly no stranger to moving and lifting around planets. I mean, he's moved just the Earth almost more times than I can remember. He's pulled the Earth back into orbit along with Green Lantern. He's pulled the Earth again alongside both Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter. He's pulled the moon before and just regularly pulled off planetary level feats. Heck, he's even managed to bench press the whole weight of the Earth for 5 days straight and only barely broke a sweat. Wasn't even tired from it. And that's just crazy. The fact that that is nowhere near his max rep. And that's just everything we can quantify with science. Superman regularly deals in the extreme of extremes when it comes to strength. Like he's lifted an infinite book with infinite pages before. He's helped to pick up the Spectre, who is heavy as all eternity. He's held black holes in the palm of his hands. He's even pushed around a compressed solar system before. He's shattered timelines and broken the boundaries of space-time during some of his fights. He's actually even said that concepts like weight or even space-time have lost all their meaning to him. He's pushed apart whole realities before. He shook the whole Phantom Zone, an infinite, limitless, and endless universe, and even said that he could destroy it altogether. Yeah, Superman is ridiculously strong. He's also incredibly, ridiculously tough. Like, what about the time where Hawkman hit Superman with the Claw of Horus, which, according to Hawkman, draws its power from the magnetic core of the Earth, meaning that he was essentially hitting Superman with the planet itself. Or what about the time he was face to face with ancient devices that were causing massive earthquakes all over the world, and Superman was taking them head on and doing it at the center of the Earth, just to throw a little extra on top. He was doing it standing in an area as hot as the sun and 3 million times more pressure than the Earth's surface. And that's just on the low end of what Superman is capable of surviving. He's been right there when 2 planets collided into each other, Apocalypse and New Genesis, which are much, much, much bigger than the Earth. He's survived supernovas, attacks that could vaporize galaxies, survived universes collapsing. He's even survived 2 Big Bangs, which were described as infinities that were creating both space and time. And then, as if it already wasn't impressive enough that Superman is ridiculously strong and ridiculously tough, he's also very, very fast. I mean, just for starters, Superman can easily go faster than light speed. That's for sure a given. I mean, he's flown from the center of the universe to the Earth in just 60 days. A trip that would take light itself thousands and thousands, probably even hundreds of thousands of years. And he can operate in a fight just as fast too. I mean, even just besides doing stuff like punching Doomsday literally thousands of times in seconds, he's able to perceive and move within microseconds and nanoseconds. Superman is very, very fast, and it's well within character for Clark to blitz opponents, using his speed in a fight to completely overwhelm them and land thousands of attacks while dodging all of his opponents. Clark's done it enough times that we can definitely say he'd do it here too. It's in his character. Then, of course, there's also Superman's heat vision and his freeze breath, which is always significantly more powerful than people think. I mean, he's been able to pretty easily wreck people with his heat vision before in the past. He's even effectively vaporized Doomsday in his tracks, and that heat vision is constantly compared to the heat and temperature of the sun. Meanwhile, his freeze breath, well, it's allowed him to create essentially hurricanes before and frozen even Darkseid. Basically, Superman has long been one of the strongest heroes in DC Comics, and there's a good reason why he's considered to be the best of the best. He's Superman.
I am Steve.
Minecraft, a simple sandbox survival game, is the single most successful video game in history, selling almost 240 million copies worldwide. While the lore is a bit vague, here's what we know. Long ago, an ancient race of builders and explorers thrived. They built monuments in the ocean, fortresses in other dimensions, even underground cities and strongholds. However, now they're all gone, with their descendants left behind to survive and maybe piece together what happened. Among them is a man named Steve. So Steve is frankly a very, very hard man to scale, because on one hand, there is an argument that he's just a regular guy out there in the wilderness trying to survive. And on the other hand, well, Steve can get a little bit ridiculous. When it comes to physicality, at the lowest end of Steve's strength, well, you can say that he's able to run and jump in full armor while also carrying solid blocks of gold, making him at least class 100. And that's bare minimum, because you can also include Steve's inventory, where he can hold up to 2,300 gold blocks, or even netherite, the heaviest block in Minecraft. So basically, you could put Steve anywhere up to 10 billion pounds, or the entirety of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And that's just base level for him. Although there also is an argument that he's not actually physically carrying all of this, and the inventory bag works more like a separate hammer space. Steve's also really tough though, especially when he's wearing armor and got his shield. Like with the armor, well, Steve can survive attacks from both the Ender Dragon and the Wither, and both of them are able to break blocks with their attacks that can no-sell a charged creeper explosion, which in turn can destroy 500 cubic meters of rock. So basically, city block level explosions. And the shield just adds to that even more. It's also very, very hard to actually kill Steve when you do injure him, because Steve can just respawn. While that might just seem like a simple gameplay mechanic, every video game character comes back after they die. For Steve, it seems more legit, because not only is it brought up in official game media, but you also have in-game items like the respawn anchor or the recovery compass. Steve just legit respawns when he dies. And Steve is actually surprisingly fast, too. Fast enough to outrun all sorts of enemies, dodge arrows that are whizzing towards him. But probably most impressive, Steve can perceive sound waves around him and actually fight in tandem with these sound waves, with the speed of sound being about 760 miles per hour. And of course, you can argue that Steve can attack even faster than this, mostly because he shoots arrows himself or even shoots out lightning bolts with his enchantments. Steve's also able to carry around all sorts of weapons, blocks, enchantments, basically everything you can think of. He's got weapons like swords, bow and arrows, or crossbows. That's really just the tip of the iceberg. He can teleport using the Ender Pearl. The Totem of Undying will do just what it sounds like, save Steve from dying. And he can create portals to the Nether, a hellish dimension full of monsters. He's got potions that can restore his health, or make him stronger or faster, or other potions that make enemies weaker and slower. Basically, Steve might just look like a bunch of blocks, but he's secretly one of the more powerful video game characters out there. So, who wins? Well, let's find out. Now, just to be clear, Superman would absolutely crush Steve. No way around that. End of video. Except, not really. While that is true with Survival Steve, Creative Steve might be a different story, because in that mode, well, he really does become a god. And I mean that literally. See, Steve created the structures of the game worlds that he resides in, which has different space-times in realities and dimensions. Steve is the light, Steve is the dark, they exist within him, and nothing in the universe is separate from him. Steve dreams about everything in the games, and he's creating the worlds and all the things happening within them. Plus, in creative mode, well, for starters, Steve is immortal. He literally can't die. He can't take damage. It's written into the code of the game where he is invincible. So that's some pretty high level durability right there that Superman would have to overcome. Plus, there's also the commands that Steve can use in creative mode. Kill, where he can kill any entity at a low multiversal range. TP, where he can teleport any entity at a low multiversal range. Game mode, where he can limit or increase the power of any player. Tick, where he can manipulate time at a low multiversal range. Summon, where he can summon any entity anywhere at a universal range. Game rule, where he can manipulate the laws of nature at a low multiversal range. And weather, where he can manipulate weather at a universal range. In theory, Steve could do all of these things against Superman, all while being literally invulnerable himself. And if you look at it this way, well, you can argue that Steve can beat Superman just by ascending to this god form and right out kill Superman. Fair argument, but the commands are also a part of the game and not necessarily something that Steve can do in character. So they might not even be applicable to him in this fight. Secondly, I mean, come on, we're wanking Steve here to the highest level in order to argue him against Superman. And if you want to wank Superman in the same way, well, the fight quickly becomes just as lopsided as Superman versus base Survival Steve. I mean, Superman is stronger than the concepts of weight. He's faster than the bounds of space and time and infinity, and Mr. Terrific, arguably the smartest guy in DC, believed that Flash had literally infinite power and still wasn't more powerful than Superman. He's one-shot universal beings before, actually done this quite repeatedly, and has said that he could destroy an infinite and limitless universe with just his raw power. So yeah, this is a funny idea and a cool fight because Steve is stupid overpowered, but still, it's Superman. He's like the most overpowered guy in all of fiction. And he's for sure coming out on top here. Superman wins.